Good afternoon and welcome to Monday the 30th of March 2026 live council meeting. It's a real pleasure to have so many people in the gallery here today, and we thank you for attending, and welcome to everyone who's viewing online. Now, in our busy agenda today, I just thought I'd show you, in case anyone thinks we don't do our homework, this is the level of reading for tonight's council workshop. We don't normally print it out. Everyone uses an electronic device, which makes it even harder to read, but there is significant work that goes on to prepare for each meeting month. So it is my first item is to acknowledge the Buwanina people as the traditional owners of this land. We recognise the Tasmanian Aboriginal people as the original owners and continuing custodians of the land, sky and country and waters of this island of Twitter. We pay our respects to Aboriginal elders past and present, and we commit to working in a way that welcomes and respects all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. So we open the meeting, and I don't believe there are any apologies. And now we'll move on to the confirmation of the minutes of the open meeting. Thank you very much, Alderman Alderton. Do I have a seconder? Thank you very much, Deputy. Alderman Alderton.
I'd just like to state that reading the minutes, they appear to be true and correct. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Any other additions? Anyone got any queries? No? Okay. In that case, I'm going to put that to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Carried unanimously. Announcements from the chair. Okay. So first of all, the Glenorchy pool. Renovation works at the pool are now over 60%. There's some beautiful photos up there if you can have a look at. The new switchboard is currently being installed, which is such a relief because the old one was something like 1937. The heating system has been delivered and the newly installed ramp is due to be hydrostatically tested, which basically means pressure washed, over the next week or two to ensure it is watertight. Excitingly, the new changing place pod will be delivered and installed after Easter, and the change rooms are almost complete. Now, on the Cleaner City, as you know, this has been one of our agenda items for pursuing this year. The Clean team continues to work hard to keep Glenorchy looking its best, and we're just going to run a little video to highlight the work they're doing around the city. Don't think we have the sound there.
We're just getting the sound now.
There you go. I hope that restores confidence that we are doing our street cleaning very well. A reminder that free graffiti removal kits are available for anybody from the customer service for locals and business owners who are willing to remove graffiti from their own properties. As well as providing the kits, council officers are also available to attend businesses in person to assist with graffiti removal. This may include hands-on support to clean affected surfaces and, where needed, painting over damaged areas to restore their appearance. The service is completely free. Anyone interested in receiving a free graffiti removal kit, or if you are a business or you know of a business that needs a hand from council, please get in touch via the email gccmail@gcc.tas.gov.au or by calling 03 6216 6800. I know you're all going to remember them. The Moona Main Road amenity project. So you may have noticed that the park benches and tables in Moona have been repainted ahead of the installation of the parklets on Main Road. In the next few weeks, businesses in Moona CBD will receive a visit from Inspiring Place representatives to discuss what a streetscape upgrade might look like. At the same time, commencing today, PDA surveyors are undertaking the site survey of Main Road Moona to enable design for future works. It's important to us that we keep our city precincts contemporary and welcoming to all who visit. Now, this fabulous mural up here, we probably should have had it before and after actually, because it was a hideous sight that you'll remember on the Tasmanian Transport Museum site. Very large building that had loads of graffiti, and in an attempt to reduce that, I think you'll agree that the artist Joel Gadger has done an amazing job of bringing to life the Helen Finch design to transform what was a really ugly shed into a vibrant feature for everyone to enjoy as they use the inner city cycleway or as you come out of Northgate and turn left. Good news on the Youth Hub. We're on track to start the after-school program in April with a soft launch on the 17th of April as part of Youth Week celebrations. Our much-awaited Youth Hub will operate from 3 to 5 p.m, offering support and programs during one of the most significant high-need periods of the day, that is when they leave school and are waiting for the bus. Meanwhile, workers are continuing to get the hub ready with an accessible path currently under construction, and that's what you can see there. There's a lot going on around council at the moment. Earlier this month, the Glenorchy Planning Authority approved the development of 34 new houses at Amaroo Road, Austin's Ferry. This development met the planning requirements for the area and was unanimously approved. With the availability of housing a major concern for Tasmanian families, the 34 dwelling development means we are adding to the supply at a time when there's considerable demand. Tolosa Park Playground, one of the most loved playgrounds in most people's memory. This week, voting will open to decide between two exciting design options for a new regional playground at Tolosa Park that is planned to be built during the 2026-27 year. This is a great opportunity for the community to help us shape a major new recreation space in Glenorchy. One option is strongly inspired by nature play, and the second option is inspired by a more traditional playground equipment model. But both include accessible play equipment and multi-purpose outdoor games. Details of both options and how to vote will be featured on our Let's Talk Glenorchy engagement page later this week, and also our staff will be going to many schools to get the opinions of those who matter, the children who use it. Apex Park. Works on the upgraded Apex Park at Lutona are almost complete, with it due to be reopened at the end of the week. Look at that, fantastic. Another one with a big view of the mountains. We also have community and volunteer awards. This is a final reminder that nominations for Glenorchy City Council's 2026 Community and Volunteer Awards close this week, so I encourage you to put forward people in the community who go above and beyond to support, inspire and strengthen our wonderful city. You can find out more details about submitting a nomination on our website. Now, the Expo. This is amazing. Congratulations to the Glenorchy Jobs Hub team who hosted the Hobart and Southern Tasmania Employment and Careers Expo last Tuesday. We are all elected officials, so proud of this event. Over 2,600 people, including 1,400 students, came to explore work and training opportunities on offer from 137 exhibitors. Have we got more photos there? Got a video. Oh, got a video. Great. Yes, please play.
Good morning, and it's my absolute pleasure to be able to join you for the 2026 Hobart and Southern Tasmanian Employment and Careers Expo. Bringing together employers, training providers, industry and job seekers right across the region. We also have some 1,400 school students registered to attend, but we are expecting a lot more, which is an incredible sign of how engaged and curious our young people are about their futures. With more than 140 exhibitors here today, this expo is all about opening doors, sparking conversations, building confidence, and helping people see the real opportunities that exist right here in Glenorchy. Events like today's expo show what's possible when community, industry, and government work together. They help residents access meaningful, long-term and jobs close to where they live. Today is not just about finding a job for now, but discovering a pathway to a sustainable and rewarding career. Whether this is your first step or your next step, there are people here who can help you turn your interest into a profession.
I hope you can see why we're so proud. There were so many jobs available. It was really quite surprising. And to see real people in need of jobs or wanting to change or upgrade or start their career, connect to people providing really good quality jobs. It was fantastic. Now, this is also good news. Chigwell Community Garden, which has had a bit of press lately. Following a temporary closure, Buchanan House will hand administration of the Chigwell Community Garden to Council this week. The transition will enable Council to formalise access arrangements for the site and provide greater coordination and support for community activities, including the return of the weekly childcare group, or play group, sorry. That is a fantastic outcome, I think you'll agree, for everyone. Another thing of note was on the weekend was the Historical Arms Military Society of Tasmania, or HAMST. I just want to say congratulations to that group for what was an amazing fair on the weekend, and I was particularly impressed with the reenactment of the Battle of Darwin, and it's just another example of the wonderful community groups that we have in Glenorchy who do amazing things, are very passionate about what they do and love to share with the rest of us.
Did we win?
Did we win? No, we didn't win, but it was a very interesting one, and there's so many volunteers. It's fantastic. And they are also they are also thrilled that they now have what they consider a permanent home. There were many thank yous for that. Anzac Day 2026, the council will hold an Anzac Day ceremony on the front lawns of the Chambers on Saturday the 25th of April, and everyone is welcome to attend. Easter opening hours, a reminder that council offices and childcare will close on Thursday the 2nd of April and reopen on Wednesday the 8th of April. Some council facilities will have adjusted operating hours across the long weekend, including the Jackson Street Waste Management Centre, which will be closed for Good Friday, and the Moona Arts Centre, which will be open on Saturday the 4th of April. Waste, recycling and FOGO bins will continue as normal, so please place your bins out before 6 a.m. on collection day. Tolosa Park remains open daily for visitors to enjoy, and urgent matters can still be reported by our council's after-hours service on 6216 6800. And details can be found on their website. There you go. Another busy report.
Mayor,
Yes.
just in relation to the Apex Park, is the height of the sandstone, is that as high as the one up in Montrose? The only reason I asked that, there was an issue there of stepping down, that's all.
Mayor, yeah, that we did discover that issue when we did the site visit, and that was rectified. Another stepping stone was placed thereafter. That sandstone barrier doesn't go right the way around the park,
Thank you.
and the sandstone is designed at a height where it can be used as a seat as well.
Thanks, CEO. Thank you.
Just a question, Mayor, from me. Just Anzac Day, do we have a very wet weather day plan? I mean, wet weather's one thing, but do we have or do we just go ahead, or do we have an alternative place? I mean, we've been in the car park.
Perfect one day and tremendous the next.
I just wondered.
I'll ask the CEO what he's got.
Mayor, might have to get back to you on that to see what contingency will be put in place.
I know we've gone into the car park before.
Okay, thank you. That's a very timely question. Now we're going to check on pecuniary interest notifications. Does anyone have a pecuniary interest they'd like to declare? No? Okay. We move on to item 5, which is response to previous public questions taken on notice. We thank Marla Crew for her question, and the answer is in the agenda. We thank Eddie Steenbergen for his 2 questions, I think. Is that 1 or 2? Anyway, thank you. And the answers are in the agenda. It's now public question time with 15 minutes. First of all, we have a question from Janice Bryan, and that's quite an extensive question with some graphs and diagrams, and it's about Tolosa Street and Wellington Park. And the response is Glenorchy City Council has not disposed of the land in question nor subdivided it into housing allotments. The land is part of Wellington Park and housing is prohibited in this area. It is noted that the land is made up of many separate titles, many that were part of the historic Merton Township, which ceased in the 1940s when the area was closed to protect the water catchment. The resident may be referencing these titles. Now, do we have anyone who'd like to come up and ask a question tonight? Thank you, Marla. Oh, sorry, Ms. Crew. A bit more formal.
Right. I'm hoping that the cameras are on me because I asked questions on behalf of the public. And at the last meeting, I was bang smack in the middle. There was Janice Bryan and there was Eddie Steinberg there after me. The cameras were turned off. Perhaps it's something to do with the lighting and the colour of my skin.
Oh, I hope not. Did we have a fault last meeting? No, we'll check that and get back to you.
All right.
Mayor, just the cameras do automatically rotate, so maybe they didn't actually capture it, but I can see that one is pointed at you, and that one just turned to face me when I spoke. So they do actually activate when there's a speaker.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I just ask, did you actually see that on replay or was it on these screens? Because we had 3 faulty
No,
screens.
it was on the
Replay.
when I replayed it.
Yeah, okay, sorry about that.
Because the community said to me, you asked a question, that was you. It's probably my accent as well. Well, my first question relates to the Fences Act of 1908, and I've had more than one person from the community speak to me about their problems with regard to this. I've done some research, and I understand that if council shares a boundary with another residential property that is perhaps tenanted or commercial property, then you share the liability with regard to the fence. But I'm also given to understand that if council shares a boundary with public land or pathways, that they don't actually have the responsibility of sharing the liability with regard to fence. But the problem arises when, I do understand, first of all, I've got to qualify that. I do understand that some of these bits of land, which are Crown land, are owned by the state government. So obviously the liability rests with them. But by the same token, if council is actually maintaining these properties and one of your agents or one of your staff has damaged a fence, then the liability rests with council. I don't see how that should be a shared responsibility. And that's been the case in a number of cases where council officers, not officers, but your crew that maintain these properties go along and they knock off palings, and then council's attitude is, I'm sorry, the access, that we're not liable.
Well, we're usually much nicer than that, I would have hoped, but I'm going to pass it over to the CEO.
Thanks, Mayor. If council damages a fence, council would actually repair it. So if it's been the case in the past that hasn't happened, well, probably like to know the details of that. But generally, if it's a fence on a private property that's on a boundary to a road,
Right away.
yeah, right of way or reserve, then council doesn't actually have a liability to go in shares to replace or repair a fence if it's just fallen into disrepair. If it's damaged by council in its operating, maintenance activities, yes, we will fix it.
Well, that's what I'm referring to. You know, I'm not talking about disrepair. I'm referring to council workers who've damaged the property through negligence.
Yep.
I think the stock answer from council is we're not liable. So what you're saying is that someone like myself, who's an advocate for the public, would have to then engage council and make sure that you realise that you are liable, right?
Probably some evidence to say that we did.
Absolutely.
Because on occasions people say that council damaged a fence when it actually wasn't council. Could be other workers that wear high vis, could be Taswater, Tasnet. Well, there's a whole lot of other agencies that do work on properties that might pull paling off to get access. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a council.
I understand that.
Yep.
And just an observation, the Mayor said today that the volunteer awards end at the end of the week, unless I thought they are at 5 o'clock today.
That's the advice in my papers. Has there been an extension?
Through you, Mayor, today is the official cut-off, but we keep it open for a couple of days to allow any that are in the mail to come through. So, if you're technologically savvy, you can pop one in by Thursday.
Oh, right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's all right. Anyone else with a question? No? Oh, Eddie, please, come to the front.
My name's Eddie Steenbergen and I live in Rosetta. I have a couple of questions about your activities there.
Oh, yes, please.
Back in February, you visited a site in Austin's Ferry, development site. I was wondering if you could tell me what site, what you learned, and what you learned at the visit.
That's okay, yes? Yes, well, I was asked by many members of the public, as were other elected officials, to visit the site of Bamaroo Road. And so because we sit on the planning committee, it's advisable that, we're strictly guarded, we're not allowed to comment one way or the other before the meeting or before a decision is made. So I went out with some of the officers to look at the site and, confirm in my own head that I was in agreement with the recommendations. So that's quite common, but I would like the public to know that we do take these matters very, very seriously, and something with a significant development, and where we did have a few people who were upset there was going to be a new development next to their development, I think it's worthwhile going and having a look.
Thank you for that. I understand that,
Yes.
that happens, but it was unusual to see it in the announcement.
Yes. Had a very busy month, you might have noticed it.
Yes. My second question is about the service level manuals that are coming up in the agenda tonight.
Yes.
That we saw at the open workshop last week before, I lose track of the time. And in the agenda, it calls those manuals a formal service agreement, which I find a really odd term, because agreements normally mean there are two parties and they've negotiated and they've signed it, but this isn't an agreement as such. So how can it be called an agreement?
Well, for a technical definition, I'll ask the CEO, but it's definitely a commitment, or what we're agreeing with our staff, that that's the level we're going to deliver to the community. CEO, have you got another version of that?
Mayor, really it's just a term that's used for service level. It's the agreed service level we're going to deliver with the resources we have, the budget we have. So, It is just a term use, so they are the standard that we'll deliver, I guess, based on resources budget.
That's what I thought it meant. I thought it meant a commitment. And in relation to those service manuals, how will changes to those service levels be dealt with? Should council decide that some committed service level is no longer appropriate or needs to be changed? What process?
Yeah, with the service levels, we're actually implementing a new core technology system within council. So we'll be collecting data from work orders that are completed. So somebody rings up and there's a pot outside my house. We'll collect the data, how long it took us to respond, costs, and we'll be able to look at that data over time to see what the trends are for, certain things that we need to do, how often we get those calls. Is it something that we don't need to respond to so quickly we can stretch out the service level longer? Or if it's something that's urgent, we need to respond more quickly because we're not meeting the service level that we've set. We need to look at allocating more resources to try and speed that up. But it's that data that we'll be using to monitor our performance on how we respond to service levels. If things change, like at the moment, we have a number of stormwater pollutant traps. If they're done away with, then obviously the service level would change for that because it's a service we don't need to provide anymore. So it would just be looking at that ongoing data to see what we need to respond to and what we don't need to respond to.
So are you saying it's simply an operational matter? Council will monitor performance and make necessary adjustments?
We'll monitor it at director and CEO manager level to say, yes, we're tracking fine. No, we need to lift our game in certain areas. So yes, we'll be tracking that performance and we'll probably present it to our elected members annually so they can see how we're performing with the money that they've allocated us.
Are you saying there'll be an annual review?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. At the open workshop, the presenters were very clear about the fact that these service manuals will be published on the website, but there's no mention of that in the agenda. Is that expected to happen? And will these changes you're talking about will be kept up to date?
Yes, we're getting some serious nodding from our director, Patrick Marshall.
Yes, certainly, yeah. If there was major changes to the service level manual, they would come back through a council report. So minor changes, we've tweaked things, we've made a slight mistake, we'd just update that on the website. But if it was a formal change to what we've adopted, that would come back through the process. Yes, it will be on the council website and publicly available.
Okay, so if council did decide that the service was no longer required, that would come back here. For example, if council refused to collect roadkill off roads.
Correct.
That would come.
It was a major change.
That would come back to council.
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you. Not quite finished. Nearly. I noticed on the 3rd of March, you, on behalf of council, you received a certificate of appreciation for being both the National Road Safety Week partner and a demonstrated leader in improving road safety. And we'll get the bit about being a partner. But did the certificate actually name anything that council had done in particular that made it a leader?
We do a lot of work in road safety and we're very committed to the Sarah cause. You'll see out in our car park that almost every council vehicle has a great big yellow ribbon on it. That's another way of supporting. We work with RACT, we work with the Sarah organisation. We've done things, not this year, but we did where we get upside down car from a car crash. And we disseminate information about road safety, sometimes on Facebook and usually in the Gazette. But we're always in touch with, I'm sorry, what's the gentleman's name? Peter. Thank you, Peter Fraser, isn't it? Yeah, Peter Fraser. Peter Fraser's started this Sarah organisation a long time back, probably about a decade ago, when he tragically lost his daughter to road safety incident. And so that's his life passion, is to get around all councils and ensure that he uses us as disseminators of keeping people aware of road safety. And we have a black spot program. Do you want to say something about that, Sarah?
Yeah, so we also have a black spot program where we look at where there's potential road safety issues, and we seek government funding under that program to design those problems out. That's a road safety initiative. So I think we've been successful every year for quite a few years in getting funding for safety projects.
But it has been going for many years, and it's a federal grant program. Finally, the service complaint resolution procedure, along policy, in all the ways that a customer can raise a complaint for resolution, snap, send, solve is not in there. But it was definitely made quite clear at the open workshop for service level manuals that it was a mechanism. Is it not a mechanism for complaining to council?
The snap, send, solve is more about service requests, not complaints on process.
Okay.
It's aimed at more infrastructure.
So why would you snap, send, solve to notify council? That wouldn't you snap, send, solve if you nothing had been done for 3 months and I wanted to complain?
That's right. Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions from the floor? No. So item 7 is petitions addressing council meetings. Do we have any?
No.
No, that's good. And now item 8.2 is our LGBTIQ. Sorry?
Activities on there.
Oh, activities and there. Goodness, how did I forget that? Oh, yes. So apart from being extraordinarily busy, can I ask if anyone would like to ask any questions of what I've been up to? Oh, thank you. First of all, I have a movement and a seconder. Thank you. So Stuart moves and Alderman Cockshut seconds. Please take it away.
The other way around, but
The other way around.
they're just sitting in different spots tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all good. All I was going to say, yes, agreed, very busy month. Mayor, great job as always. Just have a question in regards to your meeting on or event on the Wednesday, the 11th of February, about the Glenorchy Sports Centre in Claremont. If you could just inform the meeting about that in regards to the tender announcement and how that project's progressing.
Yes, because you've got to go back in time to remember where you were. Yes, that was the announcement. You know how state government loves announcements. So it's a photo shoot and a meeting with the minister and talking about...
Terry Bell.
Ooh, it was due to start shovels in the ground this month. Oh, it's already started, yes. Yes, please.
Mayor, that meeting on the 11th of February was about announcing the builder, because the Hub State Grove went through an early engagement process and had been working with a number of construction companies, and they'd tendered and come to a conclusion that Fairbrother was the successful tenderer, and that was to announce that. The construction work started on the 6th of March. They have levelled the site and they're doing their foundation work, and I believe it's progressing pretty well from reports that we've had from State Grove progress so far.
Any other questions? Yes, thank you, Alderman Alderson.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. One I'm not familiar with, or an organisation I'm not familiar with. On March the 4th, you met with Jared O'Brien from Silverleaf Investments. So I'm just wondering who Silverleaf Investments are and what the meeting was about.
Well, Silverleaf Investments are the company that developed the whole of the Cat and Fiddle, took over the Harris Scarf building, removed $8.5 million worth of asbestos and turned it into a really unique shopping destination in Hobart whilst I was Lord Mayor, at a time when no one was investing in Hobart. Magnificent work. He owns several properties in Glenorchy. And he was showing us, I think the CEO attended with me, and was showing us the construction of a new build that he's doing on, what is that wharf? Is it called
Elizabeth Street.
Elizabeth Street Pier, which is a hotel. And basically, it was just generally inquiring about any, future development opportunities for Glenorchy.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, thank you, Molly.
Thank you. Yeah, busy month as usual, a little bit extra busy maybe this month. I was really excited to attend the Dementia Brain Health Expo Day, and I think more and more in a climate where there's super saturation with information, just having those in-person days where you can go around and speak to a real person when you're trying to navigate something that's a very complex situation is really impactful. So I'm really glad we were able to host it. I noticed that we've got a few things going on with Dementia Australia, and I just wondered, is that a formal partnership that GCC has signed up for, or is it more kind of a collaborative relationship, just helping them out?
I think it's an informal one at this point, but I would like to see us head to a formal partnership. We appreciate the fact that, just like every other community, we have a lot of people living with dementia, and we are supporting seniors Tuesdays in our, is it Monday? This morning, you might have touched it myself. And they do a lot of work with people who are either carers or people living with dementia, or anyone who's just lonely in the community. And so they run events over here in the Salvation Army at the front part, or in the Cherry Street side. And on Thursdays, they run a different group in the morning. And it's just run by volunteers out of our community, and we support them over here, giving them free space and some biscuits and tea and coffee, I think. Fabulous group. I went over there again this morning, and just to see that it's a nice, safe place for people to connect, and they share news out of the Gazette and different stories, and there's craft making and things like that. It's mainly about connection and community. So, and I think, like most cities, we are asset management people, but we're also community connectors. And so wherever we can help, I think dementia is one of the emerging issues of this century, and some people don't even know where to start. They don't even know which rabbit hole to go down to find the help they need. And so that particular expo was something to be very proud of. They only get funding for one regional event in the south, and we won it this year, and it was hard for, but I think it was fantastic. And we've got we also had another briefing session over at the KG5, which was well attended as well. And I think we'll be supporting them with Facebook posts and, other opportunities for people to connect. Any other questions? No. Then I'll put it back to Alderman Cocksharp.
All good, thank you.
Thank you. I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Carried unanimously. Item 8.2 is the LGBTIQA+ inclusion agenda. So can I have someone move this, please? Thank you very much, Alderman Slade. Thank you very much, Alderman Alderton. Okay, Alderman Slade, would you like to start the debate?
Yeah, sure, Mayor. Look, I'm really pleased that this has come before council. We've had a number of workshops in relation to where we're tracking with this. I think it's really good that we've now come together, and we've got a document there that outlines basically what we as a council stand for, what we intend to do, and more importantly, it shows you through the whole body of the report just all the relationships we've had, meetings with all parties in coming up to the end results in this. I particularly like the end part is the proposed statement of commitment to LGBTIQA+ inclusion. I'm an older guy around this council, but I'm also a very moderate guy from the point of view is that I don't like any form of discrimination. I don't like any form of people not being included in our community. That's why I like this document, and that's why I like what we're doing at the present moment. That's why I was willing, quite happy for my photograph to be there of others in a couple of the documents. I haven't said this to many people, but a very unusual case here tonight for me, because here I am moving this document, and back in my previous life, I was one of the last police officers to charge with somebody with in those days crimes involving homosexuality. So there's a turnaround for the books, you may say. As the fact that I've changed, the fact is that I didn't always agree at the time, but I followed through with obviously the law of the day and obviously my directions of the day. But I think what it shows also is that I am a change maker from the point of view that I watch progress and I watch our community. And I've always been actively involved in our community. And to me, I just could not stand or see any more discrimination, in particular in this area. So I'm so pleased to move this today, and I'd like just to read just that bit out there, Mayor, that we as a council, we envisage a city where every person, regardless of their sexual orientation, gender, identity or expression, feels safe, seen and supported. Our commitment to LGBTIQA plus inclusion is grounded in the belief that diversity strengthens communities and that equity is essential to well-being. Couldn't have been. I thank the staff for putting this together so well that as for the elected members, it's already reckoned for us to go through. It's already reckoned for our community what we stand for. And underneath that, of course, we have points of talking about a safe and inclusive city, a vibrant city. I'm very happy always to wear my blue, well-connected badge or thing on my arm there. Support services, we've still got a lot to do, and a workplace of choice for LGBTIQA plus people. So, Mayor, look, I haven't got much more to say. I'm pleased to move it. I'm pleased as a council. Some councils are putting one toe in the water and taking the whole foot out. We're really not like that. We're a very progressive council, and I'm so pleased that we've addressed this in such a mature way. I believe very representative of the community's thinking in 2026, and I'm pleased we've gone forward with the directions that we'd like to do as we're going forward. And like all things, some of these things take time to do, and I'm looking forward to seeing them advance as we progress through with this report in relation to what I just discussed, Mayor. So that's why I moved it.
Thank you for sharing that. I think it does show how the community has evolved and changed, and acceptance is more important. Alderman King.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Alderman Slade, for your comments there. I think you've pretty much covered everything that needs to be said there. I think this is a well put together document, and people should feel safe in this community regardless of their position in life. And we are being progressive here. The only thing I'd like to get a clarification on is point 4 there, where it says through existing community development resources with budget reallocation where possible. General Manager, could you just clarify that, please? Where that point
might ask our Director of Community Corporate Services.
Through you, Mayor, we have some very slight underspends this financial year in the community development budget, and we were just looking at if needs arise, we'll reallocate those existing funds.
That's fine. It's just it said where possible, so I assuming we've got other resources to cover whatever we need to do.
There's a certain amount of training, and there's obviously training budgets available. So it's just a matter of working with the numbers.
We cover. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Excellent, thank you. Anyone else with a question? Thank you, Alderman Alderson.
Thank you, Mayor. So I fully support this motion as well, and I agree with a lot of the comments of my colleagues that have spoken so far around the table. Well, I don't think we're being progressive in this space. I think today we're being leaders in this space. I have a strong understanding of the LGBTIQA plus community. I have a family member who's a part of this community. I have a lot of friends that are part of this community. I hear what they face in this community every day, the hardships of discrimination. I think this is a huge step forward for a council to take on something like this. I also had the privilege of attending the staff LGBTIQA+ training event, and through that training event, I further gathered an even greater knowledge of the understanding of what this community goes through, the terminologies they use, what they mean, so forth. So I think this is an absolute fantastic step forward. We are leaders in this space. We're not progressive, we are leaders in this space.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, I've just got a question regarding the draft 5-year plan. There's a couple of items in there which I'd like to consider at some stage in the future. Obviously, it is a draft plan. Just regarding item 1D, where it proposes the action plan to support motions on LGBTIQA+ inclusion to LGAT and other forums. That's probably not a staff or a team decision. That's more of a council decision. So, having a blanket approval of motions where decisions of council are predetermined effectively, we just probably need to modify that and consider that being adjusted. Obviously, each motion needs to be considered by council on its merits rather than just a blanket. But obviously, this is draft, so I fully appreciate that there's some massaging that needs to happen. So, but otherwise, it all reads really, really well. Like many around the table, growing up, I didn't fully understand or appreciate the LGBTQIA+ community. My attitudes and values were often judgmental, derogatory probably, and hurtful. Largely based on religious views that I had, and in hindsight, they were probably quite confusing because they speak of love and kindness, yet they can sometimes be condemning and harsh and exclusionary. So, as I grew up and as older I got, through friendships and conversations and simply just listening, I've become aware that these things weren't right. The jokes and the language that I was using was, despite not being intentional to harm, was hurtful. So as this journey came along, and this reflection for me is very real, as I had my mum share with me that she was gay, and that I was the first member that she told. And in fact, it was down at the Gasp Rainbow boardwalk that we have. And I've asked Mum if I can share the story, so I wanted to put that out there. So I spoke and listened and we talked, and I listened to her story about how she was unable to speak for many years about her identity, and that was challenging and confronting for myself. But also, just because you don't understand something doesn't mean it's not right or that it's wrong. So we really have, as a family, worked through, that are having that good understanding of those things. I've got friends and colleagues that are from the LGBTIQA community. And I also want to acknowledge that there's people probably that might not disagree, might not agree with what we're doing, and seeing the need for a statement like this. In fact, I've got friends that have said that why are we doing this? And I can understand that that's based on their values and their beliefs. But as a council, I believe that we need to recognise the importance of inclusion. We need to consider having that we have these statements and our values as a council for our Indigenous community. We have them for our other cultures coming in. So I think this is, regardless of who you love and how you identify, being part of this community is really important, and you need to be feeling safe and connected, included and valued. And I think it's a really important thing that we're doing here this afternoon. Like, this statement doesn't solve everything. It doesn't make everything right. But I think it's a step forward, and that's why I'll certainly be supporting the recommendations.
like to say thank you for sharing that story and for your mum for sharing that story. Very powerful indeed. Anyone else like to contribute? Thank you, Councillor Kendall.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'm feeling really proud of this coming up to our council meeting tonight, and it makes me reflect on the statement of intent from our elected members, which was we wrote back in 2022, but I'm so glad that we're still aligned with it. And some of the standouts are that from that are being open to change, respectfully of each other, showing strong leadership, considering the impact on others. And I think bringing this forward is really an act of compassion. And I think that I love the comment about equity as well that Alderman Alderton made, because to me, sometimes to people it seems like it doesn't make sense to put a lot of focus on groups that are maybe a small group or a small part of the population, but groups that actually have a lot of barriers, you know, stacked against them. So that community needs a little extra help in order to level the playing field. And I think that's what this document does. And the document is just the end of a very long process. So I wanted to personally thank all of the members of the Inclusion Co-Design Group. I think it's quite a high bar for a council to set this process as being a co-designed as and inviting in community to be a part of that co-design. So for all of those members of the community that stepped up to do that, I'd like to thank you. That does take bravery, and it's had huge impacts, and that it's been written by the community that it's going to impact. I'm a part of the queer community as well, and I'm just feeling very moved by all of the members of the elected members for having the bravery to share their stories and their vulnerability. It makes me really proud to be here tonight. So thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Kendall. Thank you, Alderman.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Look, I echo the sentiments around the table by elected members. I think it's a fantastic outcome to be here and recognise, and like you've just said, it means a lot to those people. And I think from when I was growing up in college, it was all about fighting for marriage equality, and it's come a long way since then. So I think we finally get some representation and go through there, and I think to have that working group, it is a hard thing to sometimes put your hand up, but we do really appreciate what could be putting out of your comfort zone and being part of the process. And I guess it's a bit of satisfaction tonight that we're at this end of the stage where we can actually, hopefully, if everything goes well, sign it off and recognise a statement of commitment. So, fully supported, and I really appreciate all the vulnerability around the table from all the stories I've heard. It can be very hard sometimes to talk about that, but it shows we do care deeply about this issue, and fully supportive of the motion.
Anyone else like to make a contribution? No? Well, I'd just like to thank everyone too. I'd like to thank the members of the committee who did so much hard work. This is not a threat to anyone. It's a beautiful document that expresses how we will support members of the LGBTIQA plus group. And it's something that state government departments, federal governments, and some of our neighbouring councils have already recognised. And I think it's really important for Glenorchy, as Alderman Alderton said, to be a leader in this sphere, because we all either have members of our own family or friends. We know we have beautiful staff members, and we just want to make sure that we express that we see you, we hear you, and we stand by you. And I think that's all this document does. So, as it has been said over and over, it is about inclusion, it's about equity, and it's about safety and awareness. So I'm really fully supportive of it and very grateful to all of the people who've spoken and to everyone who put work into this. So, for the vote. Would you like to sum up?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Again, I'd like to thank the committee for the work they've done, and quite obviously a lot more as they're going forward. It's like something just sort of fell out of the sky. I was watching, I'm a big follower of that Compass program, and I watched Compass on TV last night. If anybody's seen that, you know, then I knew this report was coming up. I mean, thank goodness we don't have to deal with the issues that came up in that Compass program 20 or 30 years ago. I mean, that was almost draconian, I use that word, and I was addressing this sort of subject. And I'm just so pleased that we've got more matured as a community, become stronger as a community, and come forward in relation to being equal and being more inclusive. And together we can create a city where pride is not just celebrated, but it really truly is lived. And I'd just like to finish on that note. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, those in favour, please raise your hand. Wow, unanimous. Thank you very much. Round of applause. Very happy. So, thank you. That is carried unanimously. Now, after all that excitement, hard to get back on track. Moving on to the economics, and that is no reports. Oh. Okay, all right, so we're moving on to governance. And the next one is item 11.1, policy update, ICT security. Could I have somebody, thank you, Alderman Cockshutt and Alderman Kendall. Thank you, Alderman Cockshutt.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I just have a quick question, and I might be reading this completely wrong, but with this ICT policy, it does say in number 1, it's reviewed every 4 years. But it says here the report was adopted in the 26th of October 2020. So have we missed a cycle, or have I missed something here? Or?
Yeah, yes, I think we've actually missed a update. So
yeah, I just wanted to get clarity. I was like, well, it hasn't come up in our time, or we've missed the 4-year cycle period. That's probably one which, given the nature of ICT, probably should be reviewed anyway. But I think. Obviously a lot of the different subject here, but I think it's important we have tight security procedures in-house, particularly of ICT. We know, with hackers around these days, so I think the precautions and the measures are necessary. So I think I'm quite happy with the changes proposed to the policy, but I guess for me, it just, if we say we're going to review a policy every 4 years, we're just going to make sure we're ticking off as part of good governance, right? So, yeah, that's the only feedback from myself.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a question as well. Looking at the document itself, it's obviously it's trimmed down quite a lot, and that might be because of the difference in terms of the 6 year of being 6 years in terms of it hasn't been reviewed. I guess can you just explain? I guess what's happened now in terms of how it falls in place with the ICT space, I guess just to give some context.
Mayor, I might ask our director to
Through there, what we've tried to do is take it away from something that was reasonably prescriptive and actually, given as noted how fluid the ICT environment is, it became out of date and unwieldy. Yeah. What we've tried to do is bring it back to principles-based, so we act for security, we design for security, and we keep an awareness of security.
Yeah.
We've tried to bring the policy statement back to that.
Right. Yeah. No, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that was really clear. So, obviously, certainly very important, and I'm certainly comfortable with the changes. Makes sense.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderman Alderton.
More a question than an observation. So in regards to, obviously it took us 6 years between now and the last time we reviewed this document. Given the advancements that are happening in AI and happening in the IT space, is it feasible for us to maybe put something in here where we review this document every couple of years at least?
Yes, please.
Yes, through you, Mayor. That's also our thought. We have a principle of 4 years as the maximum, but if things meaningfully change in the interim, we put it up for review anyway. So 4 years is the maximum term it should be.
Right.
And I note the 6 years in between there, that should not have occurred. But we're back on track now, and if there are meaningful changes, and I think with the AI space, potentially there could be, it should be up for review much sooner.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Kendall?
Thank you, through you, Mayor. I'm really happy with the policy. I like the fact that we're going away from the granular level and more to a values-based, policy. It makes a lot of sense, and also the heightened security risk of today is, much higher than it was however many years ago. My question is actually around the AI space as well, and I'm purely curious about operationally if it's something that we're grappling with at council, how we're managing that.
Through you, Mayor. AI is something we're dipping our toe in the water with. So we are getting, we're aware staff could well be using AI, the free AI available. We are educating staff as to the issues with that, and again, privacy issues, no council information, so on. We are experimenting in a limited space with the full-blown AI co-pilot that comes with Microsoft, and are looking at potential productivity gains, and in actual fact, we'll be looking what are our productivity gains, what is the use of it, and coming back to the management team with that. And separately, then you get into what's known as agentic AI, which is AI agents. And some of that is beginning to be introduced through the software as a service that we receive from various contract suppliers that we have. So again, they're being very open about where agentic AI is occurring, and we are obviously looking at that too.
Mayor, if I could add, just for council's awareness, we have an internal policy, a council directive on managing our AI usage operationally. So that's a layer of governance that we've put in place already on how we manage that as an internal policy.
Just one follow-up question. And does that include confidentiality and feeding confidential documents into AI? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's what Greg was saying. Yeah, we don't put that sort of information into AI. So there is the co-pilot that we're experimenting with has the ability to just look at internal documents. So you can just use it if it's just council, but if you're using AI to do research using the web, then there's no personal information that to be put in it. So.
Thank you, Alderman Alston.
So I just wanted to ask another follow-up question. Do we as a business use third party or outside remote servers? That's where the greatest risk is coming with AI.
Through you, Mayor. Most of our software we don't have on premise and haven't had for quite a few years. Most of it is software as a service, so it's sitting on servers and cloud. And what we have is specialist agreements that include security criteria and also their recovery, business continuity, security outlines. So when we contract in that space, that's something we'll work on.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Well, I think most of the issues I had have been covered. So in that case, I'm going to go back to Alderman Cockshott to sum up.
Yeah, look, I think it's been a good discussion, particularly AI piece, right, and how that's ever going to change and the efficiencies that may bring over time. But I think, like I said earlier, 6 years is a long time. So if we can review it within that term, I think moving forward that'd be great, particularly the big space it is and how we're using technology every single day at council. So that's how I sum up.
Okay. Thank you. I'm now going to put that to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. And now we move on to item 11.2, which is the financial performance report to February the 28th. Who would like to move this one? Thank you very much, Alderman Stringer. And now I need a seconder. Thank you, Deputy. Alderman Stringer.
Mayor, the finances are looking good to date. We have a you're in a favourable position of $43,000, which is 0.2% of the variance to the budget. So, although we're looking good, the climate of the market in the world at the moment is not so good. So we're actually travelling pretty well compared to, where we're at, maybe a month ago with predictions. And I said I'll move that. We'll accept the finances up to date.
Thank you. Anyone with any other questions? Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you, Mayor. I think we've had some discussions around this through Mayor to the CEO in terms of understanding where we're at the moment and future decisions and proofing. Maybe on top of that, because it'd be good for the community to understand a little bit.
Mayor, we're looking at the situation daily, talking to our CFO about where our cost pressures are. Obviously, the fuel situation doesn't just impact fuel in the tanks of council vehicles. It will increase the cost of plastic pipe, our bitumen supplies, a whole range of products. So we are receiving some letters from suppliers saying that they're being hit hard by the fuel increases. So some have applied for increases under rise and fall clauses in some contracts. Some are applying a levy, like our rubbish collection service, and some are just warning us that there's probably cost increases to come. So we're monitoring the situation daily. We're in contact with the Local Government Association of Tasmania, who's working with the state government on their emergency response task force. They're keeping us informed of what they see as issues, and looking out for any delays in getting tankers. At the moment, we're okay for supplies, but the situation may change. It's pretty fluid, pardon the pun. So we are monitoring. We expect that there will be some impacts though, and we're also considering what we're going to do in response to those impacts. So we're working on a bit of an action plan to try and soften the impacts as much as possible.
Yeah, great. And you'll keep council up to speed with when we need to.
Yep. So I guess we provided an update at one workshop. We're certainly will keep council updated on the situation, especially if we think things will need to change.
Yep, great. Thank you.
Alderman Riddler.
Yes, I don't know whether other auditors heard, but Albanese announced this afternoon that there'll be a 26-cent excise cut on fuel, plus the road tax on diesel will also be cut. I don't know about the quantity, that wasn't specific, but that's immediate effect as a result of the National Cabinet this morning. So I'd appreciate, because we've got a workshop next week, can we get an update before close of business on Thursday, what the impact would be on the council, please?
Mayor, if we get the information, happy to provide that update.
Yep.
Thanks. Just email. That's all.
Yeah, thank you. Can I just ask you to clarify, was it my recollection that you said bitumen's gone up 50%?
The Bitumen Association of Australia said that it's likely that the cost of bitumen will increase by up to 50%, because it's not just the bitumen fuel, the product, it's also removing the gravel, which uses a lot of diesel. It's then transporting the materials. Bitumen's refined on the mainland and then to export that here. So the cost of all of that combined, they're predicting will increase the cost of bitumen by 50%.
Concrete's gone up at least 15% as well, so that's at least the same.
Alderman Alderson.
So just a question to the CEO. I guess in light of what Alderman Riddler's just advised us all of, one would suspect that a lot of these businesses would now be readjusting their increases, I suspect. Otherwise, they're actually probably going to make a profit if they're benefiting.
Too late. Too little, too late.
There's some contracts that we have do have a rise and fall adjustment, and our ashbuilding contract is one of those, because they are subject to the rise and fall of oil prices as based on the Singapore wholesale price. So that's always been the case, because it's a very oil dependent business. Some others don't, but some have a clause that if there's exceptional circumstances, then they'll be able to revisit the contract. So we'll be reviewing those, and where possible, we'll try to mitigate those costs. But there's likely to be some adjustments that happen along the way, and that may cause us to rethink our budget. Where we're sitting and what our projections were going to be, as far as we were hoping for a surplus. So there might have to be some adjustments that we will report to council on. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? No? Then I'll go back to Alderman Stringer.
Nothing to add, Mayor, except for thanking the financial officers for monitoring the situation and being proactive over the last few weeks, and we appreciate that. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. In that case, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. And now we're moving on to item 11.3, the policy update on the complaints management. Thank you, Deputy. Oh, that was close. I might go to Alderman Marks, hasn't said anything yet. So, Deputy.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. So this is a report for an update of our complaints management. This is very important. While it's obviously not due to be reviewed, I'm pleased to see that our community teams responded to ensure that this vital update's been made for our child safety and our obligations as council. So this is good governance, being proactive and agile. I just want to commend our team for being proactive with this, especially in the current environment and what needs to be done. So I'll just leave to open up to the remainder of the elected members.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? No? Everyone's happy with it? That's good. Sorry, Alderman Marks, didn't get to say anything. I'm going to put that motion to the vote. All those in favour? Again, carried unanimously. And now it's 11.3. No, 11.4, is it? Yes, 11.4, adoption of updated service level manual. Very, very heavy reading manual. Thank you. Nice to see everything so well documented. I shudder to think how smaller, poorer councils get on with all of this kind of rigour, but at least we're doing well. Right, who's going to move this for me? Thank you, Deputy.
I'll second.
Thank you, Alderman Riddler. And Deputy, please take it away.
As outlined in the report, a very extensive updating of our service manuals, which all areas of council has been impacted with this. Just a couple of questions, if I may, just before I start. Obviously, there was some very outdated, what would you call them? Antiquated ways of doing things that hadn't been necessarily revised for a number of decades, the report says. Has it just been because this is how we've done it, manage things through? Because a couple of decades is a long time for a service update in some areas. I just wanted to get some feedback on that, that was all.
Thank you, Deputy. Thank you, CEO.
Mayor, the original service level manuals were written in 2004, 2005, and I know them very well because I actually wrote the majority of them. So we were probably we were ahead of the game. We were probably the first council in Tasmania to actually have service levels documented to that level. So we first developed them, we workshopped our elected members at the time, they were adopted. We had some work method statements that went along with them, and over time we've had a lot of change in safety standards and traffic management and a lot of the processes that we do when we do the work, but the actual service, the fixing a pothole hasn't changed that much. We still do that the same way, but it's everything around it. Like we have to set up completely different traffic control than what we would have 20 years ago. So So whilst we have been doing the job safely, I guess we just haven't updated the manuals to reflect that. The manuals did have a bit of a review in 2015, but they never came to council. So in revamping the whole manuals, we've decided to bring it back to council to say, council, here's what we deliver from an operational point of view with the resources and funds that are provided to our works, because we want it to be pretty transparent. We'll get to reporting on our performance once our new core technology and asset management systems revamp, because at the moment the system can't deliver any ongoing reports that we would like. So I guess in 20 years, a lot of the processes around service levels have changed, but service levels themselves are still quite similar. But we've added some extra activities that weren't captured in the original round, like maintenance of buildings, the pool, for instance. I know there's a lot of questions about how do we maintain the pool. So that's a work in progress at the moment. That'll come back to council when we do any reviews or updates. And it's just I guess a document that will be a living, growing thing that will keep changing. But I think the difference will be that we'll bring it to council on a more regular basis.
That's great. Yeah, certainly it brings us up to a standard where we're very transparent with our community, and I think that's a positive thing. It's great to hear that it'll be on the website. Very informative to understand. If there's a pothole, it's going to take X amount of time for this one, or for larger damage, and a whole range of things. So in terms of, it allows the community to have a good understanding of the expectations of what council is meant to be doing, and then how that experience is vital for our community to have that understanding around timeframes. So it's very, very good. It was heavy. But very, very good. And it's almost like the encyclopedia of, okay, well, this has happened. What do we need to do? And I find it to be it'll be really useful, and I'm really proud of the team for getting it done. So well done.
Pick that paperwork up again, Mayor.
Yes. I just wanted to point out that when you said it was heavy, 300, and this is back to back, these pages, by the way, 303 papers were devoted. 303 pages rather were devoted to the service manuals. And just like a good recipe book, it's great to see the pictures of how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So that was very informative. Thank you. Anyone else like to make a contribution? Thank you, Councillor Kendall.
Sure, thank you. I mean, just to speak in support of it, and I'm sure it was heavy reading, but you've read it, the whole thing as well, Eddie, so very impressive. We read it, but you guys wrote it, so well done to you. I really think that was a poetic kind of, I feel like you should put that as your LinkedIn kind of tagline. The potholes stayed the same in 20 years, but everything around it has changed. Beautiful.
That's a long service level, 20 years.
Well, obviously it was so good when you wrote it. It just stayed in place for 20 years. But I really appreciated the workshop where we really went down to a granular level and saw the sort of scientific measurement nerdiness behind all of the ways that you rank not only the levels that you keep the assets at, but how they're rated in terms of importance, and if it's a road, how highly frequented that road is and how many schools are nearby, and there really is a science behind the scenes. So yeah, I really appreciated reading all of that and understanding it, and it's great, as people have said, that it'll be on the website, especially when people contact us and want to know when their street's going to get upgraded, and that's quite a difficult position for elected members to be in. You sort of don't want it to be a responsive, the people that are the most upset get the most attention. So it's great to have that transparent and very fair and even formula that we can point people to, and also say, look at all the other things that we do as well. So yeah, thanks for that. And if if there's any changes, it's just improvement to the standards that were in there. So thanks to the staff.
Anyone else like to say something, make a contribution? No? Well, I'd just like to say it is a significant amount of work, and it's one of those things that if you don't lay it out, you can't measure it. So I'm very impressed. As I say, like I found the pictures incredibly valuable, but you can see now why our staff are so proud of what they do, because it's not just a matter of fixing a pothole. There's all of these qualifications to make sure that we're doing them in an order that serves the city and uses our funds wisely. So I think, and what we're aiming to do is to improve everything up to a certain standard as soon as we possibly can, and that's significant when you're talking roads and curbs and gutters and footpaths and all those other bits and pieces.
That should be a headline on our website. Seriously, that should be promoted, that approach. Anyway, sorry.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's a big ask, but I say that's why I always like when the staff come and give us a presentation, you can actually hear the pride in what they're delivering. So I'm going to put that to the vote. Oh no, I'll go back to the deputy. Have you got any?
No, nothing
No?
further.
Thank you. So I'm going to put that to the vote. All those in favour? And again, carried unanimously, and that I think is because of the quality of reporting. There's nothing to be unhappy with. Right, 11.5 is the Australian Electoral Commission AEC proposed redistribution. Something that I find particularly confusing, but everyone has a point of view on this subject. So who would like to move it? Come on. Thank you, Alderman Stringer.
Second.
Your second, thank you, Alderman Cockshott. Okay, Alderman Stringer.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm happy to move the Glenorchy City Council's position.
Thank you. Alderman Cockshott.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Look, I think the agenda stipulates quite a few things, which finds is a very confusing outcome, you know, given that nearly 40% of the people live in Hobart, work in Hobart, and we have a good connection there. We are classed as an urban centre, particularly with the Hobart, Clarence and Glenorchy. And you've got a lot of projects which are, you know, coming up, like the Northern Suburbs Transit Corridor, the Durham River Ferry. We've talked about Wilkinson's Point, what's happening there. So I think if you asked a lot of people in Glenorchy, we would more associate ourselves as a more urban city rather than rural. So I think we do not have a lot in common when it comes to the Lions electorate when it comes to that. So I do find it a bit confusing. I know that things have always got to change and adapt with the times, but I feel that the way it is at the moment, where we're in the electorate of Clark, it more suits the city as a whole, I would say. Maybe.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. The change doesn't seem to make sense for the Glenorchy City Council, given obviously as outlined by Alderman Cockshott, our locality, the existing the Greater Hobart Act, and the strong community connection that does flow in and out of our city. And then you add to this the alternative approach which we've put to the Electoral Commission. Sadly, I feel like it may fall on deaf ears, given that the Electoral Commission will proceed, you know, potentially with their preferred option. The move will effectively have a metropolitan city in each area. That said, so I guess we need to probably be flexible and be ready to be agile and be ready to be aligned to something that is potentially different. And so we need to be thinking a little bit more, proactively. How does this now work with us? How can we be using this change if it happens to our advantage? It might strengthen our ability to stand outside of Hobart's shadow potentially. Be able to create a bit more attention, have some more efficiency with our advocacy for our funding from federal and state. So, although it doesn't quite make sense, and I maybe we need to have some understanding of how we, being proactive in terms of if it does happen. So, I would certainly support the submission, but I'm afraid of the outcome.
Thank you, Alderman Alderson.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I sort of think that once again, this is other areas of impact on council and put us in a hard situation. It would have been nice to have actually brought this to a council meeting. I understand, CEO, we couldn't because the timeline wasn't there, and actually debate and come back with a much stronger approach and a stronger message. I do have some concerns around our submission that we're speaking on behalf of the Derwent Valley and the Norfolk area. They're not part of Glenorchy, they're not part of Glenorchy ratepayers. I'm just wondering, as part of my conversation here, a quick question: were Derwent Valley Council consulted and made aware of our submission before we actually submitted it, CEO?
Mayor, yes, I did have a conversation with the Derwent Valley CEO on the submission and shared a copy of it with the CEO to make sure they were aware of our proposal.
And did they provide any negative or positive feedback in regards to our submission?
No, they didn't.
And Brighton was supportive and wrote one of their own in support of ours.
So I'm sort of 6 of one and half a dozen the other here, because I can see a half glass full situation for us sitting in Clark with a number of things, especially I think sitting in Clark we're in a very weak position when we tried to achieve funding for the Glenorchy War Memorial Pool, because Andrew Wilkie's got the seat of Clark tied up. There's no incentive for the major parties to throw money away or throw money our way to build a new aquatic facility. I think if we step outside and into Lions, I think we have a better chance in respect to the aquatic facility being built, because we then move into the marginal electorate and the major parties are going to throw money at projects like that. But then on the flip side, I understand if we move out of Clark into Lions, it has a huge impact on the city deal, has a huge impact on the corridor, the light rail corridor or the rapid bus transit corridor. So it's a 6 of one, half a dozen the other for me. So I'm not really too sure where I sit with this one. So this is why I'm speaking out, and I'm going to declare my position. I'm going to abstain from voting on this one today, because I don't know which is the right camp to be in, because we haven't been given enough time to look at this. We haven't been given enough information by the Electoral Commission to decide whether staying in Clark is best for us or moving into Lions is best for us.
Anyone else?
Just a question more than anything. What now, CEO?
Mayor, the submission has been sent because to meet the timelines had to be lodged by the 27th of March. So now we wait for the response from the Australian Electoral Commission.
And to speak on it, we authorise you to do it, so well done, see what happens. But I think, like the Deputy Mayor said, I told him, hold my breath. Or you said, I can't remember now, somebody said, that the likelihood of us changing anyone's mind is, I don't want to be cynical, but I am cynical, that'll be minimal. So don't listen to that, I didn't say that.
Okay, anyone else? Thank you, Councillor Kendall.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so similarly, I'm feeling quite conflicted about this resolution after having a really tight deadline from the AEC, so not a huge amount of time to consume the information, get your head around it, and I'm not a sophologist at all, so now I have had a chance to fully read the EAC's proposition. I understand what they're trying to do, and so yeah, I think I will vote against this resolution, even though it's sort of a moot point, because it's, it's off in the ether, which is fine. Yeah, tight deadlines mean tight responses are required. But yeah, so I think if you looked at Tasmania on a statewide level, as Shane was saying, what they're trying to do is to group a metropolitan area with a more rural area and redistribute the population. And I think in the new Lions, you might have the more regional parts of Lions being upset that Glenorchy, is included in their metro area, and Glenorchyites might feel more akin to Hobart people, in terms of character. And also, as is mentioned in this report, lots of our services are, lots of people live in Glenorchy but work in Hobart, and also get services from Hobart, like attend the hospital. And yeah, so in that way it sort of doesn't make sense. But I think on balance it does make sense what they're proposing. I can't see better way of doing it. So that's why I'm not gonna, yeah, I don't have anything better to offer. So I'm happy to go with what the AEC is recommending. And I think Glenorchy is the most awkward part of the whole map. Like we're the kind of, sore thumb of the whole shuffle. But yeah, on balance to be able to allow the EAC to do what they're doing, I think, yeah, it probably does make sense. Yeah, and as Shane said, sorry, I'm struggling with the aldermen and aldertons myself now. But yeah, being the epicentre of a marginal electorate might really see us have more opportunity to get federal election funding. So fingers crossed that if it goes through, there's a positive outcome. But yeah, be voting against the resolution tonight.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so I obviously support the resolution. And so does Mayor Tucker, ironically, the president of Legat, and he's the Break a Day mayor, and he cannot see the sense in us being partnered with Break a Day, which is miles and miles away, a very long trip, and we have almost nothing in common. I think it would have been easier than, instead of disrupting 113,884 electors, or 27.56% of the population, to move 6,600, I think, people out of the new Norfolk municipality, and then the balance would have been maintained because it's only about numbers and the equality. The thing I find totally insulting and annoying is that we, as a local government, are expected to consult and then consult again and thoroughly consult any changes or commitments, about anything we're doing with the community, as we should. And yet the AEC can just come in and disrupt us, decide what's in our best interest without even asking us. That's the insulting bit. And because they have legislation time that we couldn't even bring it to our own council and have a healthy workshop and then a healthy discussion. So that is the thing that I find totally offensive. It's not good governance under any circumstances. The sad thing is I don't think enough of our community understand the impact of this. And the argument about Clark, I would definitely say was fairly valid up until recently, but I know there's going to be a lot of possible new candidates running for Clark and a lot more emphasis by the major parties. So Clark mightn't be as marginal as it has traditionally been, because Andrew Wilkie's not going to stay there forever. But also, I just don't know how we'll go in Lions. But a prominent Lions person said to me, as much as I love you dearly, you don't belong in Lions. So I think that was sort of saying that, there was nothing that we fit with Lions. But anyway, that's her personal view, as is mine. So virtually, I think you're right, Deputy. We are just going to be rolled and shoved and moved, but the process stinks. And if it was consulted with the public and the public said, yep, we're really happy to go to Lions, well, then we'd accept that. But I don't think they even know it's happening. Okay, so with that, I think I'm going to go back to Alderman Stringer.
I'm happy to move the motion, and as said, we'll see where it goes from there.
Yep. Okay, thank you. So I'm now going to put that to the vote. All those in favour. So we have Alderman Riddler, Alderman Stringer, we have Alderman Marks, the Deputy, we have the Mayor, we have Alderman King, we have Alderman Cockshut, and we have Alderman Slade. We have Alderman Alderton abstaining. And against? Thank you, Councillor Kendall. So the motion is carried. Not unanimously, but carried. Now we're going to move on to item 11.6, the Local Government Association of Tasmania General Meeting motions. And that's page 459. Can I have somebody who would like to move this, please? Thank you, Alderman Stringer. Doing the heavy lifting. Thank you, Alderman King. Please, Alderman Stringer.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the motion to for the recommendations that the council endorse the following positions for the LGAT general meet from the LGAT general meeting, and of course that was to support the local government's role in delivering the immunisation programs, and with the subject to remove some clauses of the motion. Support the motion, there's a motion to eradicate, it was the rodenticides, I believe, the second generation rodenticides as well. And the third motion was there to vote on the council's behalf of these motions was amendments. Sorry, just read my notes here.
I might, sorry to interrupt, but I might just clarify something. So since writing the report and putting the motions up, I've been advised by Legat that, sorry, I'll go back a step. When the motion to support the vaccination position was put up originally, Glenorchy were going to put up a motion to ask for reimbursement of the vaccination program. Because West Tamar had already put up a motion to make it optional whether councils provided or not, Legat said that rather than have two sort of similar but different motions, they would look at maybe merging them together. So we started to get some agreement on making it either optional, or if you did deliver it, that we would be fully reimbursed for the delivery. Since writing the report, the West Tamar Council have decided that they don't want to merge and don't want to add the bit about being reimbursed. So they've gone back to their original motion, which we sort of wrote the recommendation in a way that it could go that way, because we weren't totally sure that they were fully supportive at the time. So the motions that will be considered by Legat are to for the government to consider removing the mandatory, making it compulsory for local government to deliver the vaccination program. So that's the motion as it is, except with a clause to say that council may develop and implement an approved program for immunisation by liaising with the Tasmanian Health Service required to carry out school-based immunisation programs. So that clause would be inserted. The change that we're suggesting is that we don't make it an opt-in and out, because if you opt in, then basically you're going to be carrying the responsibility forever anyway. So either they say you must do it, or no, you don't have to do it. That's basically what you'll be asked to vote on at the meeting. So we're saying to support it with that amendment that is included in the table. And the second one is about councils ceasing the use of the second generation rodent poisons, basically, that will have an impact if a bird of prey picks up a dead mouse or rat that's been poisoned by the roticide, then it won't transfer to the bird of prey. So we're suggesting that that be supported as well. Sorry for the long-winded explanation, but just want to clarify that there's only two motions that you'll be asked to vote on.
So what's on the screen still correct?
Yes.
Okay, did you have anything else to say, Alderman String?
I don't know what I said the first time there, so I'll just move that resolution.
Okay, thank you. Anyone like to comment on this?
Which part?
Yeah, okay, Alderman King.
I love the term rodenticides. I just haven't heard that one before. I must have missed something. I love it. I've got to get some.
No, you've got to not get some. You've got to get, not the second generation.
I love that term.
Whatever. Alderman Alderson.
Just a question. So these will be dealt as one motion at LGAT, or two separate motions?
Mayor, those are two separate motions.
So can I ask why we're not dealing with these as two separate motions in this resolution and voting? Let's say potentially what happens, not saying well, what happens if we get support around the table for motion A but not motion B, and then the whole lot gets defeated because we don't fully support both motions? So just wondering why they're not separated out into two separate motions.
Yeah, can I make a comment? I think that if that was the case, we would already know. Enough people would have said, I'm concerned about one or the other, but if there is concern, I'm sure people will speak up, but
So that's my next question. What is it, what is a second generation rodent site? I've got no idea. What is that, like,
I'll show
rat
you.
sack or something, or?
I'll show you later.
Yeah, it basically is a rat poison that if, when it poisons the rat, if the bird of prey picked up the rat, it would have a second generation effect on the bird of prey.
So first generation's done, is that what we're saying?
Well, we're saying that we would support not using it because there are some other alternatives that are available.
I guess that's my question. So the other alternatives don't pose the same risk as a second generation rodent site?
That's correct.
Right.
Thank you, councillor Kendall.
Yeah, thanks. I only just recently learnt more about rodenticide. I'd only thought about it. Rodenticide, I think that's, I got a nod. So I'd only thought about it in the context of rodents that have died after eating rat sack, getting picked up by, birds that then die. But then I went to a session about conservationists who are picking it up. They're finding it in the bodies of mammals that eat both reptiles, so little skinks and lizards, and bugs. And apparently in those bugs and lizards, they're bioaccumulators, so they're fine. They can eat as much of the dead rat as they want, and it doesn't harm them, but then whatever goes on to eat those bugs. So not only birds, but our native wildlife that eat a bit of both, a bit of veg and a bit of meat. So quolls and other mammals. So I think
I must have missed that conference.
what? What do you do on your weekends? So I just didn't realise that it was such a widespread problem. But yeah, Bunnings is about to take it all off its shelves because it's just really awful, painful way to die. It's like internal bleeding, and you don't want to go into the photos of it. But yeah, very happy to endorse that. But along the lines of what Shane's saying. Splitting them up and potentially having a little bit more time I don't quite understand. My concern with the vaccination one was I absolutely agree that the council should be 100% reimbursed for delivering vaccination programs. But I'm just aware how much people appreciate the council hosting the vaccination programs, and I worry that if it's an opt-out, the councils won't do it. And I know it's very hard to get bulk billing vaccinations. So, yeah.
Mayor, just also on that, whilst West Tamar have asked that we not combine, we've drawn ours for now because it would make it quite confusing at the vote. But we will submit something like that at a future Legat general meeting to say that we would like, because Glenorchy's position is we would like to deliver the program for the health benefits for the community, but we would like to be fully reimbursed back for delivering the program.
Okay, but as it stands, we're voting for the ability for councils to opt out of providing vaccinations. Okay, so I probably wouldn't support that, but I would support the rodenticide, so I'm in that tricky position.
So am I, Amelia. That's why I was saying, did you want to split them?
Mayor, that would be up to elected members. So that's the officer's recommendation. If you would like to split them and change the recommendation, you could do it two ways, the mover and the seconder, if there's agreement there, or somebody move an amendment.
I'm happy to move that it be split up if the council want to vote on them separately.
Okay.
As a mover.
Alderman King, are you happy?
Yep.
Okay. So, as it has to be for the 10th of April, I don't think we can delay other than the suggestion made.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, shall I put to the vote? Where's it gone now? 1 and 2A. You happy for that? Everyone vote on 1 and 2A, or just 1 and then 2 split up?
Mayor, 2A would be not support.
Not support.
And then B would be support.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah. No, B's rodent sites, isn't it?
Yeah, that is supported from what I understand. Yeah.
I think the appetite around the room is we want to support continuing to provide immunisations for the community, but we want to be reimbursed for it. We don't want to take the service away. And by supporting,
That's not a
by
motion.
supporting one,
Yeah, so can we have clarification about the motion, please?
The motion from Legat, that is
The
going to.
motion that we're going to vote on.
Motion that Legat advocates for the following, that the Tasmanian Government remove or modify Section 57 of the Public Health Act 1997, which requires council to develop and implement an approved program for immunisation in its municipal area. The Tasmanian Department of Health take primary responsibility for the delivery of school-based immunisation programs in Tasmania. 3, seek full cost recovery if it, well, sorry, that bit's been removed now, so that won't be included. And that section 57(1), if not removed, which is basically councils not be responsible for providing the immunisation program, if not removed, be replaced with a council may develop and implement an approved program for immunisation, and the key word is may, in its municipal area by liaising with the Tasmanian Health Service, who is required to carry out school-based immunisation programs statewide.
So C, 5C question, sorry, Mayor, through you. So 5C is, we're removing C. That's not meant to be there, is that correct?
Removing 3. Sorry, Tim, could you scroll down to the table?
Yeah, do you want to see the agenda version? Because the table's not on the slides, but I can put that on the screen.
Yep, it is on the agenda.
Yeah.
It's my understanding of this originally was that we were happy to work with the Department of Health, but we thought it's a health issue and should be a health, the recovery, so in other words, we're still making sure our community's vaccinated, but that the cost should be not shifted to council, but should stay where it belongs with health.
We're thinking more broadly too, because some councils out there can't afford to put these programs on when the state government already paid for them. So that's why there's some of the other councils who are complaining that they were doubling up on a bill. If the state government are going to provide the immunisations, then why should they be, have to?
The issue is the state government in the Act that they've made it council's responsibility to provide them. And what this motion's about is making it optional. So some may want to, some may not. So it's not saying don't do it at all. If you don't want to do it, you can opt out. That's what the West Tamar motion is.
yes. But then I expect there's nobody that can pick up the service at all, CEO.
Except the state government.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Back
that's
to
still
the
cost.
state health department.
And that's the cost to the councils.
Yes, and it's quite an expensive cost, isn't it? I know that
Sorry,
this new round was going to be something like 8.7% on top of whatever we're already spending.
Well, do you know what the cost of immunisation program is to us at the moment?
I don't.
No, it's around between 60 and 70,000 per annum for us.
Can I just ask a question? In the details of the motion, it's referring to the background comment from Glenorchy City Council. But isn't this motion just from West Tamar now?
But yes, it is. But this is like officer comment on that.
Under the Legat heading?
In the attachment.
Sorry, yes. Sorry, I'm just getting confused by the.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It is messy because of first saying yes, we would merge the motions, then not merging the motions. So yes, it has sort of messed it up a bit.
It does seem inconceivable that you know, a smaller, poorer council wouldn't want to be reimbursed. Anyway. Okay, so can we have advice on how we're splitting this up, please? So you're going to make, what are we going to do?
So my understanding is that the recommendation A was not being supported.
Some,
We'll just split them up so we can vote on either one.
But do you want an alternative to just not voting on delivering? So A is support the motion, and so do you want a B, like not support?
Question.
I would vote against supporting the motion, yeah.
I have a question, Mayor.
Yes, sorry.
Can we still put an alternative motion forward at the LGAP meeting or not? In regards to this, can we as a council put an alternative motion forward?
Should be able to, yes.
So if we were to move an alternative motion here, instructing yourself or the deputy mayor to put forward an alternative motion in regards to this at the LGAP meeting, we could do that.
Yes, you can,
Right.
but it has to
Well,
be.
that's probably the best way out of this, or the best way
Have we
around.
got notice time to do that?
Sorry.
Have we got enough time for notice for us?
Mayor, it would be during the debate
On the floor.
on the floor at the time.
Okay.
So we've had a little change there, not support the motion.
And then maybe we just create our own motion that is worded and revolves around section C, something along the lines that council only supports retaining immunisation services if they're to be fully reimbursed for the delivery of the program by the state government or something, with the motion in line with that, something.
Yeah.
Could I just say, I think it's probably better to just, like, if we win this change, to just vote against what they've proposed and then at a later date propose cost recovery, if that's the path we want to go down, or another alternative based on.
So I guess that's the other alternative. We could have another council meeting and move a motion within the council, right to state government seeking reimbursement for any immunisation programs. That's the other alternative.
That would be my recommendation, that we vote accordingly on the motions that are before us, and then council would prepare its own motion and lodge it at the next general meeting.
Sounds good.
Well, I don't know what the deputy thinks, but either one of us is going to have to deliver this on the floor, and I cannot, hand on heart, I mean, I do have to do what the council says, but I can't understand why we not want the health department to take the responsibility for delivery of school-based immunisation programs, and why we wouldn't want full cost recovery, and also the Tasmanian government remove or modify section 57, which is very instructive. So, yeah, I mean, just because we're taking out full cost recovery, which is one of my biggest beefs, obviously I want an immunised community, but just saying we're just happy with the status quo. Is that what you're saying?
So my issue is looking at Tasmania more systemically and thinking if councils are given the option to opt out of delivering vaccinations, they most likely will, because it's a big bill. I absolutely agree that we should have cost recovery, but just letting people opt out isn't going to make the state government step in on our behalf.
Well, but I mean, I'm not saying that we don't do it. I'm saying we can still partner with them, but they just should pay us for the service.
Yeah.
Because we have to employ nurses and people to do this job, don't we?
Yes. Yes.
And it's a health department problem. And if the health department didn't step in and help those little councils who can't afford it, then they're going to end up with such a run on measles and such a run on all these other issues.
Correct.
Yeah, like how else do you stand up to the state government?
Well, I think if all of the councils are footing the bill, that's a big lobbying group, as opposed to people just opting out and the community suffering as a result. So,
But this is our lobby group. So on the 10th of April, the lobby group for all the councils gets together. And so one council has come up and said, okay, we think that all the councils, you know, so then if some other councils say, no, we're not supporting it.
yeah, but I mean, you could always like this might not pass, you know, to say no to this motion. It looks like it's maybe only me and Alderman Alderton, so you might not have to deliver.
I think I'd be so embarrassed. But anyway.
My concern is if it gets to an opt-out stage and 20 of the 29 councils take the easy path and opt out, and 9 want to retain it but want to be reimbursed, it may potentially weaken the case for those 9, whereas if you kill this motion, the status quo remains, and we go to the next LGAB meeting with the right motion and a stronger motion and get that through, supported by 29 councils, does that not give the local government a much stronger voice than 9 councils wanting change and 20 councils opting out?
Or we could move an alternate motion saying that, something to the effect that we don't opt out. No one can opt out, but there's full cost recovery.
Yeah, just to clarify, this is a motion by the Legat members to lobby the government to. Yeah, so it's not saying that the government will agree to this anyway. So it's a proposal that members are asking Legat to put forward to the government.
Okay, so the will of the floor, as I'm reading the room, is that we have that, oh yes, we've got the 2 splits, so that's good. And, oh no, it's not split, no, because this B is to support the motion on the rodenticides. So should we then have a B, make the rodenticides C, and B support the motion? So there's an alternative vote.
Do we have support to actually split these first?
Yes, that's the other question. Oh, yes, we did. Well, no, we should refresh that, I think.
The mover and the seconder agreed to allow.
Yeah, we were split the motion, yes. But as it currently stands, they're not split.
No, it's voting to not support one, support the other. Where we probably have a unanimous consensus on 2, and the floor's going to be interesting on 1, which way it goes.
So either, I think Russell or I, whoever's going to be at that meeting, could argue about that we support the intent, but we don't support opting out, as long as we get paid. We're not bringing that part in.
No.
God.
This is why Legat first off wanted to merge them together, and then unfortunately West Tamar didn't want it merged.
West Tamar?
West Tamar.
Oh, West Tamar.
West Tamar.
So maybe we're now sending a clear message, we don't support it because you wouldn't agree to merging, so that's another way of sending a clear message to West Tamar.
That sounds a little childish though, but we're talking about health.
Well, aren't they a little bit childish by not?
Yeah, I agree.
Amalgamating the motions?
Mayor, to make it clear, would it be better if we move an alternative, someone move an alternative motion to just vote on them independently, separately?
Sorry, we have the director.
We're just going to madly type here and capture the discussion. Tim's just about to put it back up. We've tried to separate out, I think, is that what you were meaning, and support an alternative motion seeking reimbursement of immunisation costs. Is that the point you wanted to make?
All right, so.
I think so, yeah.
No, let's councillor Campbell explain it.
So, to clarify, I think we should separate the rodenticide motion, or vote on whether we want to do that, and then vote separately on whether we want to support what West Tamar's put up, which is the opt-out, and, you know,
Or not support you.
And, there's 2, it's a 2-part thing.
No.
So quick question.
Yes.
Can we, C's obviously around the table is okay. Can we just can we abstain in this?
And what message does that send?
Well, no, I'm just asking in terms of if we put an alternative motion that is the one which is the one that our council is wanting to advocate for.
I think that's a better approach.
Yeah, but we're not saying in here that we want to get rid of the opt-in, opt-out, because we think the council should be in. We just want to be reimbursed, is that correct?
That's from my understanding. So we want to be
But
doing.
we still have to
but we
vote on
don't-
their motion that they put forward.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's a separate
Yes.
motion altogether.
Yeah, so
Yes.
that's why I
That's
don't
right.
think B is correct. Support on an alternate motion seeking reimbursement of immunisation
Should
program.
be moved, shouldn't it? Move an alternative motion.
Well,
I think it's at such a stage of complexity now that we should just yes, no on the motions as they've been presented to us. But we
So we'll
separate
go back.
them, so it's a separate vote, so we know rodenticide yes, no, and,
Yeah.
West
the
Tamars, yes, no.
immunisation, yes, no.
Because we have the option next LGAT meeting to put our motion forward again anyway
Exactly.
if we don't support their motion. So by not supporting A and supporting B, which was now C, but needs to be changed back to B, I guess we wait till the next LGAT meeting and put our own reimbursement motion forward as an alternative motion if that gets defeated.
but, well, can we clarify so that the reason why we're not supporting it, because it doesn't make a lot of sense that we're not supporting it unless we say because of the opt-in, opt-out.
I don't think it's gonna pass as is, I think it might be just me and Shane, so I don't think you have to overthink how it's gonna
Yeah,
land, we just yes, no it. Oh, maybe not, okay.
You know what I mean? We're on the floor saying no.
That's okay though. If it's the will of the council, that's what we're going to do.
I mean, we've got an opportunity here to be masters of our own destiny and have an implementation of a immunisation program we get reimbursed for. Otherwise, if we don't and something like this gets through and we decide to continue with reimbursement and we then go to the ratepayers and say, well, sorry to fund this, we're going to have a 7% rate increase next financial year. Nobody wants that. Or we do away with it altogether and nobody wants that.
Can I just distill this though? I gather the sticking point is that we don't want other councils opting out. Is that, you don't want people opting in and opting out? Yeah, so it's not really about the reimbursement or anything else, it's the opting in and opting out. So what I'm saying is if you don't support it, it's on the, if we're going to do it as a council, but we don't support it on the basis that they should be able to opt in or opt out. And we can either throw in that we'd like, if we're moving an alternative, that we would like to be reimbursed and we see this as a critical cost shifting. Well, take up, so we can do that wordsmithing, but to me, the sticking point here is the opt in and opt out. Exactly.
Yes, as well.
Right. Okay, so if we could see that on the screen again, please. It's coming. Oh, it's coming, okay. It's worth the investment because it is a really important contribution to our community.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's fine.
But do we want it to be a financial burden to our community as well?
We already are.
Yeah, we're about to get slugged another 7.8% or something, because that's when I asked the question, what the hell are we paying? But it's always been that way since 97 or
And
something.
I think the community would see it as a significant stand from the council in light of the cost of living crisis we're under, to see their council arguing for money to fund something like this rather than the ratepayer fund something like this is only going to put this council in good stead.
Mayor, I should also clarify that we do get some reimbursement for some programs, but not all of them. So we have to fund the immunisations for some of the immunisations that we give, and the nurse immunisers, I think we have to fully fund ourselves. But they do provide some reimbursement, but not for the whole program.
So does that include pandemics if we had to start immunisation to support pandemics?
Yeah, they didn't, we weren't authorised to deliver COVID vaccines.
No, I realise that. No. Moving forward, are we?
No.
Can I just clarify 3, which says subject to the removal of 3 of the motion? I think it should be subject to clause 4 of the motion. Because we're saying we don't want to develop and implement an approved program. No, not that one. What's the one that says opt in and opt out?
It's in the, it's in this one. So it's in the legal.
Yeah.
That's not too bad, that makes sense.
To remove that.
Yeah. So why would not support subject to the removal? Okay, so you just don't want to support?
Sorry, so clause 3 is it's the portion of the act that says
57(1), if not removed, be replaced with.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So 3 is seek full cost recovery if the council delivers the immunisation program.
Pretty low.
No?
No, sorry, it's actually a section of the Act that, Tasmanian Government remove and modify Section 57 of the Public Health Act, which requires council to develop and implement an immunisation program. And the motion from West Tamar suggests that gets replaced by our council may develop and implement an approved program.
So that's why I'm saying that's section 4 we want to remove, isn't it? Not section 3, because we're saying, can
Oh,
you go
sorry,
back
yeah,
to?
you're right. So,
Yeah.
yep, there is a numbering issue there. Yep.
Yeah. Can we go back to the recommendation? When you're ready.
The one that we've.
Yeah, one we're doing. Because it's asking.
Yep.
So support an alternative motion seeking reimbursement immunisation program subject to the removal of reimbursement. So that's done. That'll have to be removal of clause 4, I think.
Yes.
Does everyone understand that?
Yeah.
It is.
Cool? Okay. So. Right, are we ready to vote?
I'm going to saw ahead looking at this.
Yeah, and I'm going to need someone more clever than me to work out the result. Okay.
One on there, point of order. Is that meant to be also on 2, clause 4 and 2?
2A.
Subject to removal of clause 4 of the motion.
2A, up above.
2A, sorry.
Yeah, so it's in both motions, yeah.
And that number should be 4 in both.
Yeah, 4 in both.
Yep.
Do we need to double check that, or is that?
No, that's correct.
That's
good, yeah. No, sorry, that was my numbering,
That's all right.
issue, sorry.
Didn't pass arithmetic.
Didn't pass my test.
Okay, so we'll move item 1.
Can we read it out so we know what we're voting on?
All right, okay. Would you like to read it out?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't see it.
So, well, the first part,
Is the mouse
where are we
still
going now?
there?
Right, so the council receives and notes the report on the Local Government Association of Tasmania, LGAT, general meeting motions to be considered on the 10th of April 2026. 2, endorses the following voting position, I think it should be, at the Legat general meeting. Oh no, well, that's odd, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's just position, isn't it? Voting position. Not to support motion, changing local government role in delivering immunisation programs subject to the removal of clause 4 of the motion. That's not right, is
And what's
it?
clause 4 again?
So clause 4, it says that section, if not removed, be replaced with a council may develop. So we're not supporting, so that doesn't make.
So now that it's not support, we don't need the subject to removal of clause 4.
No.
It should be full stop program.
But we're not explaining why we want to move it due to the opt-in, opt-out clause.
They'll get it.
Oh, well.
We did take that highlighting bit out of both of the options.
Yeah.
That you're voting on.
Just on that one.
Just on that one.
I've got a syringe over here.
Okay, so that's been done. 3, endorses the following voting position out on the GAT general meeting. 2, support an alternative motion seeking reimbursement of immunisation programs subject to the removal of clause 4 of the motion, which is.
Does that still make sense?
That doesn't make sense.
Doesn't, because
That doesn't make sense at all.
You've got to take clause 4.
Well, clause 4 is the one that says.
Can I make,
Opt out.
can I make a suggestion?
Mhm.
Yeah. I haven't done up to now. How about we just, we know what we want to do. How about we just scrap that and just put it up there how we want it now? How's that sound?
Sounds good.
This adding on, we've got a situation now that doesn't even make sense.
No.
So can we just knock those 4 off and just add what we want?
Yeah.
In very clear terms?
Yeah, which is to vote no to
Yes.
West Tamar's
Exactly.
Motion,
Yes.
Without any reason.
And then put our own motion up at the next.
I don't think we need to, man.
Yeah.
point of order, like when you're up there saying you can say why.
Yeah.
Is that?
You don't have to, Mayor.
You can speak to the motion and say
No, it
why
doesn't
you don't.
work that way. You just have to put your number up. You have to vote into a little doodle-acky. Not now. It's, yeah. Oh, yeah, well, okay, it's still voting on doodle-acky. And it comes up and says Hobart, no.
That's fair enough.
I mean, Glenorchy, no.
That's fair enough. Because we intend to come to the next meeting with our own motion, I guess we'll workshop at some stage and get right and take that to the following LGAT meeting.
Which is?
Cost recovery.
Yeah, the motion we'll be putting up is for full cost recovery.
Yeah.
And
As an alternative, if it gets up.
Yep.
And if not, when's the next LGAT meeting that we can do any voting?
it'll be about July or August.
Are we going to do that?
With number 3, if the subject to removal of clause 4 of the motion is removed, then it would make sense seeking reimbursement of immunisation programs, full stop.
So that stops people opting in and out.
Yep, but that alternative is about reimbursement.
Yeah, so full stop after programs, yeah.
Yep.
Wow, okay. Everyone happy with that?
Yep.
We still can't go, I believe we can't do, not support the motion. We need to keep it to support the motion and then we just vote against it or as it is. Haven't we just changed the motion to the opposite wording?
I guess I don't want to go there without a reason why I'm not supporting them.
Yeah, but we vote it down and then.
We're supporting an alternative in 3A, is an alternative motion.
It's for you, Mayor and General Manager and CEO. Why are we having the endorse? Can't we just put support, not support?
Yeah.
I think that'd be a lot easier, where it just,
That's what we are.
we're getting yourself in a lot of dislanguage here.
So
Would have the following position.
Yes,
we just take that whole line out.
yeah,
Line out of all three?
yep. You don't need it.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
it's true.
that's,
We're making it easier then.
and 3 as
I
well.
mean, we know what Glenorchy's position is.
Yeah.
What you've got, Mayor, you've got to explain that, which I don't think you will. That's it.
Yep.
They are done. Okay, can I go home?
Wish you'd spoken up earlier.
No, I was,
Come on, Stuart. You should have spoken up earlier.
It's really about that opt-in.
that's it now.
Argue, yeah, okay. All right, is everyone happy, please, for the 10th time? Okay, so now do I move it as a block, or do you want to do the, no, you have to do it. Okay, we have to vote. All right.
Future ones will split.
Yep. So, okay, so I can move this block?
Yep.
All right, so therefore I'm putting this motion to the vote. All those in favour, say aye.
I don't want to go home.
That's wrong attitude, Nikki.
I've got to go somewhere, I've got to meet a man.
It's also live.
No.
Right, so that's carried unanimously. And now we're going to move on to item 11.7, notices of motion. And it's notices of motion or questions on notice or without notice. Do we have any? Ever hold your peace? No, thank you. And now I need a motion to close the open and move into the closed. Thank you, Alderman Slade, and thank you, Alderman Riddler. I put that to the vote. All those in favour? Say aye. It's carried unanimously. Thank you. And with that, I close the meeting. I thank you for watching tonight's council meeting. I hope you learned something from it and it only gets complicated, I think, when we haven't had a thorough and decent workshop on the subject matter. But we do thank you for your indulgence and look forward to seeing you next month. Thank you.